let me see. So this is yeah, Sugar Babies When Feminism Looks Like Online Misogyny from Filipa Melo Lopez in the blog of the APA. Now let's see if we can do this. Yeah, overall the blog is very mixed. Yeah, that's my sense. I've always got that I thought whatever it was that they were doing, it might have been interesting, but it might not have been, like, for me always. So, sure. So here we go. All right. Onwards. So we'll find out. In 2019, the dating website Seeking.com reported having 365 University of Edinburgh students registered as members. Seeking.com is not just any dating platform, it's the leading website specializing in what is known as sugaring. Transactional arrangements between young attractive women, sugar babies, and older successful men, sugar daddies. Okay. Edinburgh is not exceptional in having hundreds of students looking for a daddy online. A quick search will tell you that sugaring has boomed on campuses in the last decade on both sides of the Atlantic. But the figure was of particular interest to me because Edinburgh is where I teach, and in my feminist philosophy classes last year, all my students talked about was sugar babies. Their interest in the phenomenon took me by surprise, but so did their comments. They were not lamenting that the rising costs of education and housing were pushing their friends to these platforms. They were not saying, look at what young women have to do to get by these days. Instead, my students were curious about sugaring. They were inclined to see it as something positive, as a path to independence, and even as a feminist act. You know, the younger generation, as far as I know, do not have as many hang-ups about sort of these transactional things. They see it as, you know, part of the world at the moment, good or bad, whereas like some of the older generations, I think, saw this as, you know, prostitution, bad, boo. And so it's like, it's a little more nuanced for the younger ones. They're just looking at it as like, oh, you can do this now, and it's like, it's not terrible. And then you want to just like figure out, is it something worth doing? Granted, of course, because everything's really expensive nowadays. Author says, but how could dating old men for money be a feminist act? I remain unconvinced that it is. I suspect, in fact, that trading youth companionship and sex for gifts, money, and professional mentoring may have very negative consequences for these young women. And when this exchange is so clearly gendered as sugaring is, it's hard not to see classic forms of patriarchal hierarchy reemerging. However, I think it's vital to understand why sugaring has become so attractive to young people today. At the heart of that story is an ironic twist that has made the worldviews of popular feminists and online misogynists in many ways indistinguishable. Okay, that's interesting. Saying that we've got like the pop feminism and the misogynists are basically starting to align. Although this does remind me very clearly of rentboy.com, which I doubt people are gonna like immediately remember, but this was in New York City here, and rentboy.com was among the male gay community. If I were, like, someone might have to correct me on these things, but basically Rentboy was younger men, good-looking guys who were gay, and they were dating older guys with more money and, like, you know, some, like, older guys that had money, and basically they were dating them for rent. That's why the site was called Rent Boy. You were a boy that you like, an old guy with money that wanted to sleep with a younger man would give the dude money for basically rent in New York City, because rent in New York City is ridiculous. And so basically this was it got busted eventually for prostitution, like on the site, but in some sense everybody involved in the case, which is one of the most fascinating parts about this, from the cops that busted them to the judge, said basically Rentboy was doing a public service, because all the things that were like hidden before were on the site. People were like, had reputations, and so no one was getting hurt anymore or like taken advantage of by scummy people, because to be on the site you had to be like legit. You had to be doing what you said you were doing, and everyone was kind of happy about it. And what's the most fascinating part of it, the servers were seized under an anti-terrorism raid. Why would the servers of a gay male website be grabbed under an anti-terrorism law? because the anti-terrorism law basically guaranteed that those servers would never see the light of day. Some people must have been on that site with money and power and did not want those server data to ever get found, and so when the raid happened, it was under the auspices of some giant like 9/11 anti-terrorism like bill, and so somehow that's how the servers got sealed and will never be seen again. But but you can look this up. You can go look up Rent Boy. Rent Boy is clearly like, if you do a little searching on that term, you'll find it. But it's like, that's just one of these funny, weird things that happened that, like, this was what was basically considered to be better than what the status quo was. It was technically against the law because it's prostitution, and that's illegal here in New York. But and then there was some weird politicking and policing that went down when the things actually happened. Okay, continuing. In her 2020 book, How to Get Over a Boy, influencer, activist, and best-selling author Chidera Egeru defends what she calls hypergamy, women's preference for dating wealthier people. Whilst it is crucial to treasure our right to work for our own money, it's absolutely okay to want to be treated well, and I dare say spoiled. Egeru concedes that many women see this more transactional approach to relationships as degrading or as letting the feminist team down. But she says, what the hell just happened there? But she says, given that women have to deal with rape culture and the gender pay gap, picking up the check is the least a man can do to show respect for his partner and support for gender equality. This is all the more important, Egeru elaborates, for women of color who face racialized forms of oppression. According to Egeru, splitting bills is a misguided idea. It forces women like her to share their already limited resources with my oppressor. It's exploitation masking as egalitarianism. I mean, yeah, if you are asking a minority that is already at a disadvantage to pick up exactly half the tab, then it does seem like that the minority is not getting the fair deal right there. I mean, I don't know if that works out really, but it might. This seems, it's not a crazy thought. Okay. Egeru is not alone. The idea that you shouldn't split bills is now big on TikTok, with young feminists urging other women to make his pockets hurt. Against this backdrop, sugaring seems like a great idea. As a student put it in the Harvard Crimson, sugaring is fundamentally a clever means for women to refute the same system that perpetuates catcalling, unwarranted, explicit private messages, and harassment by demanding payment. I mean, yeah. It's like, I have no problem with people demanding payment for, attention online or attention in person. This is basically how Twitch runs anyway. This is on all the other sites too. I mean, whether you're selling entertainment in video games, talking philosophy, or anything else, basically, if you are spending time entertaining people, be it for sexual favors or not, and that's your job, that's your job, and that's fine. And if you like it, All right, continuing. The sugar baby is sticking it to the man for the sake of advancing herself. Unlike regular apps, platforms like Seeking.com allow you to target men who have money and are willing to spend it. You can get a lot more than a dinner out of your date. Unlike stripping your way through college, becoming an escort, or camming, getting yourself a sugar daddy carries minimal risk for maximum reward. Okay, so they're saying it's more efficient than all these other things. I don't know if that's the case, but that's an interesting argument that it's more efficient to get a sugar daddy and just drain him dry. Could be. And you don't even need to meet in person if you don't want to. These young women are then the Robin Hood figures in this new feminist redistribution of social goods, skillfully manipulating men to get what the patriarchy denies them. Egeru sums it up. It feels empowering to me to live luxuriously at the expense of my oppressor. I mean, how many good-looking women are there out there that are abusing weird guys with money? I don't know. Are they living luxuriously at the expense of their oppressor? I don't know. Are they providing a service? I don't understand how this is any different than camming. I really don't. Because basically, what do you mean you don't even have to meet them? This is basically camming at this point. I'm not sure I understand the difference between sugar daddy if you don't even need to meet the person, meet in person if you don't want to. That's the definition of camming. You're just video chatting with the person. Okay, but are sugar babies really winning against their oppressors? To be successful, they need to turn themselves into exactly what men want. After all, finding a daddy is hard work, especially when websites like Seeking.com make sure the ratio of attractive members to successful members is 4-1. In this buyer's market, women have to excel by popular beauty standards. This is clearly one way sugaring cannot help but reinforce the mainstream and sexist norms of appearance that feminists challenge. But even for those blessed with what counts as a conventionally attractive body, standing out and looking good takes time, money, and care. As one sugar baby puts it, this is a job. You mind the way you look, the things you say, etc. You must listen, keep up men's interest, or convey exactly the right amount of disinterest, hold them when they cry, be their therapist, give them some punishment for their guilty conscience. To do this effectively, the sugar baby needs to learn to be detached and strategic, smiling and flirting, regardless of how disgusted and angry she may feel. And this is where the long-term effects of sugaring become painfully obvious. I mean, this is Rent-A-Girlfriend, and basically this is not actually that new. And this is especially like camming, where you have private messages and you have to like talk to people and, you know, all these things. I don't see how this is very different from, or I don't think this is very new, but maybe this like one instance of it is kind of new, but like it seems like a same old story. In The Second Sex, philosopher Simone de Beauvoir warns that for a woman who makes a living by pleasing men, her whole life is a show. Her words, her gestures are intended not to express her thoughts, but to produce an effect. I mean, so is an actor for that matter. Maybe not their whole life, but, you know, that's what it is. Sugaring requires women to get used to seeing themselves primarily as appearances for men rather than full people living their lives. They need to get used to not saying what they mean, not doing what they want, and managing themselves to please others. The thing is, if you practice this skill long enough, it becomes second nature and you become a stranger to yourself. It's precisely this deep habit of estrangement that makes women perfect to take up various feminine roles like that of the submissive girlfriend or the dutiful wife. To excel as any of these things, you need to constantly look at yourself from the outside. Do I look good? Does he like me? Will he get mad? I mean, this is the problem with lots of jobs. Lots of jobs are soul-sucking. And I'm not saying, like, this is definitely a job, as they're saying. You have to conform. Now, the question is it, like, how bad are you going to conform? Some people are going to not like to do this, and they shouldn't do this then, but some people may not mind so much. I'm not, again, like, I'm not seeing anything particularly new about being a, you know, being, like I said, rentboy.com was an old website. This is not a new idea. I mean, yes, people may not like doing this, but again, if you're good at it and you like it, then I'm not telling you not to do it. Okay, there's also something very disturbing about the cynical realism of sugar babies. And a University of Texas student says, "Men have always objectified me as long as I've been online. Now at least they're paying me to say this stuff." Okay. Egru agrees. Most men want you to do their laundry or cook for them or be their therapist, so why not get what you can out of the deal as well? Sugary is supposed to set you free in part because of its honesty. What Egru and company are telling women is, don't be a sucker, forget love, forget sexual satisfaction, and take what you can have: money, expensive holidays, and nice clothes. This explains why sugar babies are so willing to show an open disgust for men. As Molly, a student at Oxford, points out, sugar babies' feminism often boils down to the idea that men are scum and will always be scum. But if you get paid to put up with them, you're at least getting the best deal possible in our imperfect world. I mean, some men are scum, and if you're getting money out of them, like, yes. But, like, yeah, this isn't, like, going to be pleasant. This is going to be rather unpleasant part of the job. Author says, when you think about it, this is a profoundly conservative worldview. It uses the feminist language of oppression and objectification, but what it's really saying is that women are from Venus, men are from Mars, and heterosexuality is a battleground. Nothing can ever change because oppression is all-pervasive and never-ending. The sugaring ethos is deeply apolitical because it sees gendered hierarchy as unjust but natural. It's the way things are. It concedes that a woman's greatest talent is being young, pretty, and available, and that the fundamental measure of her worth is what men are willing to pay. I mean, yes, it's a profoundly conservative worldview, and because I mean, from the I guess the men's side of it, if they're willing to pay for this, like this is exactly what they want. You're giving the men exactly what they want, and so you're exactly doing like the old rich guy with money is getting exactly what he wants. That doesn't seem particularly feminist. It does seem like the conservative viewpoint. Now the question is, again, is like, if you're going into it knowing that you're doing this one thing transactionally, that doesn't mean the rest of it has to govern your entire life, of course. Now, yeah, but you are definitely playing into this worldview where this is how things are. And some people are like that. Not that, and I don't want to say people can't change, but there are definitely a lot of people like this still right now, where the old guy is conservative and they want like a young plaything. And if some woman wants to get paid to do that, okay. But like, yes, you are buying into the system here. You're getting paid to do it. Author says, sugar babies are not securing their independence and they're not doing anything to challenge gendered inequality. They're training themselves to be the prize that some wealthy and successful men think they're owed. And in the process, they're saying that this is just the way the world is. Make your peace with it and take what you can. It's not a coincidence that the logic of hypergamy that Chidera Egaru champions as liberating is the very same narrative that made psychologist Jordan Peterson a household name some years ago. On Seeking.com, CEO Brandon Wade tells prospective members about the very scientific explanations for hypergamy. Really? Wow. All right. The text below assures them that moral outrage in response to hypergamy is a short-sighted response towards a naturally occurring and largely beneficial phenomenon. Yeah, it sounds a little creepy as hell. But hypergamy is also a staple of narratives shared online by incels and other misogynistic groups who often blame their loneliness and failure on women's natural desire for high-status men. So the idea that women should date up is not just being embraced by feminist rebels sticking it to the man, it's also upheld by conservatives like Peterson, by opportunistic entrepreneurs like Wade, and by a whole host of vitriolic misogynists online. That should give us all pause for thought. Yeah, that is the problem. This is the old conservative thing that is very, very ugly. So yeah, it's like I agree with the author here. There's nothing pleasant about the transactional viewpoint and then just saying, well, women just want the high status man and then the man wants just, the young, good looking, I mean, it's basically trophy wife or trophy girlfriend at this point. So yeah. Okay, that's it. So this was from the Women in Philosophy series. So yeah. Okay. Not bad. Short. Sweet. Any questions from anyone there? Because basically, it's like... See, you can say right here, sugar babies are not securing their independence. I mean, maybe there are. How long are you in this game for? And they're not doing anything to challenge gendered inequality. No. They're exploiting gendered inequality right here. Now the question is, you're in the gendered inequality and you are exploiting it, but you're definitely not challenging any of that. Now the question is, if you get out and try to do something afterwards, then you're sort of like, well, you worked for the man for a few years. Like, this is New York in here, so there's a lot of finance people around, and a lot of them want to do good things, but like, if you need to get money, you need to like work for the man, and so you go work for a big bank. You work for a few years very hard, you can make enough money, and then you can go off and do something. A lot of people say that like that's sort of their goal. I mean, I think a lot of people also play video games like this. You play video games for 12 hours a day, it's going to take a toll on your body. But like, there's some very, very popular streamers out there. They play, well, not even streamers, just anyone on Twitch, but they're going for like 12 hours a day. They're going huge amounts of stuff in their body. It takes a toll on their body. And it's like, you're not doing it because it's good for you. You're doing it because it pays the bills and it's going to secure your independence in the future. And you're having a hard time now, but you don't actually, you're not planning on doing it. So, I mean, it seems like anything else nowadays, it's a bit of a trade-off. And so if you are actually getting paid a huge amount of money and you're securing your independence, then yeah, like maybe this is the best option. But I don't see it as any different from like the camming, the escorting, or anything like that. So I don't think the author here made a real case for this being something new. It seems very old, and if anything, that it is so old is because it is playing exactly into these sorts of like conservative worldview, and so it's not any different from what has been going on maybe for a long time in Western society. I mean, yeah, this is your job and the way you look and stuff. Like, see, this is the problem with the argument here. This is the only thing I really have a problem with. Is they're saying that camming, that this sugar baby thing is different from anything else. But, like, if it's a job that you mind the way you look, the things you say, that's the exact same thing as the escorts from, like, you know, the old style stuff. Yeah, so unlike stripping your way through college, becoming an escort or camming. See, this is my biggest hang up, and it's a very small hang up here. But yeah, other than that, I agree with the paper. So let's see. Do we have anything else to say? How to Get Over a Boy. So got this book here. How to Get Over a Boy. Learn to Self-Love from Chidera Egeru, author of the best-selling title, What a Time to Be Alone for Women Who Date Men. How to Get Over a Lover. How to Get Over a Boy. How to Get Over... okay, I thought they said lover or something. Alright, interesting. Let's see. I mean, it's not like... so this is sort of interesting. Even though this author is... Lopez, I guess, is kind of really coming down hard on Chidera Egeru. She is like still like linking her book and stuff like that, because there's probably, you know, writing a book is a good way to make money, and you don't have to do the bad things or whatever like they consider bad. But it's like, so it's interesting that like, would you you're still stumping for this book by this Chidera that you do not seem to like what they're talking about, but you're still linking their book. So let's see. Make His Pockets Hurt. So yeah, so this is links here. Yeah, and this is very interesting. This one link here. After all, finding a daddy is hard work, especially when the websites like Seeking.com make sure the ratio of attractive members to successful members is 4-1. So that means there has to be 4 women for every like rich white guy, or not white guy, rich older guy. Excuse me. Let's see. I have like these old white bankers in my head is what I'm thinking about. So, and I shouldn't be hating on the old white bankers, but like that's who has money around here usually, like rich businessy peoples. But yeah, so it's basically making a market for women, and you get to pick between them because they have to you know, struggle against they have to compete against the other women. So yeah, so they have to excel by popular beauty standards. No, not exactly. They have to beat out whoever there else is, but there's a markets for lots of things. People like different kinds of women, but yeah, I'm suspecting that it's going to be popular beauty standards. Do I even want to we can click on Seeking.com. Let's see what this looks like. Start dating up. Seeking possibilities, dating up. Seeking is the luxury dating site for the successful and attractive singles. Elevating your experience is the foundation of Seeking, where you will discover the connection, passions, and expectations you desire every step of the way. Seeking helps members choose relationships that uniquely align with their personal passions and dreams. With such a diverse range of people and passions, we provide a safe environment to explore, discover, and evolve what love truly means to you. Yeah, so this is basically... You can see by this level of bullshit that they're full of shit. After our first date, we agreed to plans for a weekend getaway. I always wanted to cruise the Keys to Miami, but getting there on a yacht was an adventure I never imagined. Okay, don't settle. Seek. What it means to start dating up. Seeking members are sophisticated individuals who wish to date attractive and successful people in a way that goes beyond typical social dating traditions and trends. No one person has the same needs or interests, but one thing shared on Seeking is the aspiration to discover something better, allowing members to develop connections and share memorable experiences together. Yes, so you have I am attractive versus I am successful. So successful Prince and socially minded. So, yeah, and the guy's 36 and the woman's 23. Wow. Okay, so date the elite, live life to the fullest. Ideal relationships, upfront and honest relationship with partners who fit your busy lifestyle. Yeah, so you're basically, it's the rent-a-girlfriend. And this is like, you get a sugar daddy. Yeah, I mean, if I had no idea this existed, I'm, I guess, unsurprised now that I'm looking at this. Yeah, oh, they're from 2006. Wow. Okay. Yeah, they were around when Rent Boy was around. I wouldn't even be surprised if they knew each other. It's like, yeah, this might even be like what the Rent Boy people did after they got busted. About us. Members of Seeking are not subject to mandatory background screening, but have the option to submit for a background check and or ID verification. Let's see, anything interesting? Seeking evolution. Honesty and open communication have always been the core principles guiding what Seeking.com has to offer. Seeking began as Seeking Arrangement, where established and attractive singles could share their expectations for a relationship up front. Countless harmonious relationships, I like this, harmonious relationships have been made since the website was created in 2006. As the world and concept of dating continues to evolve, so does Seeking. We are committed to helping singles find honest relationships based on open communication, but we are much more than that. Seeking is about identifying what drives us and how we can live our best lives with someone by our side. Life is too short to settle. That is why we want our members to find relationships that align with their personal goals and dreams. These relationships begin with Seeking. Yeah, so basically they're just trying to, this is, I mean, the amount of bullshit, because like basically it's a it's like sugar daddy, sugar baby sort of thing. It's a half step away from escort service. So it's safety, yeah. Okay. Safety dating tips, yeah, exactly. Technology things. Are you ready to date safely? Personal research is not creeping. Wow. Yeah. So basically, yeah. Exciting. Hypergaming. Wow, they have a link right here about this concept of theirs. Yeah, see, and they're trying to make it sound like hypergamy is this term social scientists use to refer to the phenomena of women prioritizing wealth or social status in mate selection. So they're trying to make it sound very scientific. I don't know if it is, but they're definitely trying to make it sound like this is the natural way of the world. Hypergamy is commonly referred to as trading or marrying up. There is a great deal of research that supports the notion that hypergamy plays a big part in female mate selection. Awareness of this female mating preference has caused a moral panic that upon consideration reveals itself as unjustified. Alright, so we've got some guy who is like trying to be a hip scientist explaining it to us. And this is, paid by them, as you can see. This is their stuff. Ask Brandon Wade. Oh, so this is the Brandon Wade is the guy who runs the site. Evolutionary psychology, social learning theory. Yeah, evolve yourself. How you doing? What's going on? Yeah, so we read this paper, I don't know if you were here, on Sugar Babies When Feminism Looks Like Online Misogyny, and it's about this site called Seeking.com, which I had never heard of before, although I heard something very similar called RentBoy.com, which was in the gay community that did something almost exactly the same. Like young, pretty guys would date older, wealthy guys because they would pay their rent. So, let's get a little shout out going here for you. Let's see. Oh my god, is it not working up there? It took a sec. Oh my god, and it still didn't work. Oh no, that's busted. My alerts are still busted. You're not Aristotle, I'm sorry. Let's give the shout out here. Okay, so now if you're not following Evolve Yourself, go follow Evolve Yourself. He is also a philosopher, but he does meditation on stream, chakra balancing, chess instructor, so you can go learn chess there too. On some days you are, yeah, some days. But yeah, so so this is one of these things. You can always bullshit. And so like this is why they're trying to talk people into thinking what they're doing is a good thing. I'm not even saying that it's bad. I'm just saying they're working real hard to make it look good. What is a suitable response to hypergaming? I think this model looks a little funky, but that's right. Opposed to vilifying women who engage in hypergaming and men that benefit from it, view trading up as one solution to the complex problem of mate selection. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on the people doing this stuff, but you can't claim yourself as like super feminist if like you're buying into this social structure, because this is basically saying this is the way the world is, because that's just what you're saying. This is the right way to go about dealing with people, is this sort of rich guys and like good looking women, and that doesn't it's not very egalitarian. But yeah. When carefully considered, it is difficult to pick out what exactly makes some people view hypergaming negatively. Well, I mean, basically, this is what this author right here, Lopez, said. It's basically, you can't really separate this out from escort services, basically. This is basically escort services with the twist that you are calling it dating. That's all. Anyway, how you been, Evolve Yourself? Hope everything's going well. Things have just been very funky lately, I feel like, for everyone I know, including myself. So. Yeah, see, there's also something very disturbing about the cynical realism of sugar babies. Men have always objectified me as long as I've been online. Now at least they're paying me to say this stuff. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Some people they may not even like it, but they may be very good at it. And so the idea that they're getting paid for it is like, this is basically like escort then. It's like, why not get paid for it, especially if like it's they're getting paid a lot of money for it. Now you can be cynical about it, but like, especially if the people aren't confused and thinking, oh, this is the way the world is, then you can't fault them. If they're going into it thinking this is a crappy situation, but an extremely beneficial one, then again, like, all of us have to make trade-offs. Like, you can't say like, oh, everyone can afford to, not take what's available to them. That's just unrealistic. So, if you're buying into the bullshit, that is objectionable. But if you're getting paid oodles of money to be an escort and you like it, that's fine. But like, again, the idea that seeking is making up this they're trading on like probably junk science to make it sound better, that's a problem. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've got some very clever arguments in their favor. So here's the evolutionary psychology view, because actually we have a philosopher of science, Evolve Yourself, does a little philosophy of science in chat, and I know a little bit of it too. So let's see what the evolutionary psychology explanation is. Evolutionary psychology's explanation contends that hypergamy is a psychological tendency created by evolutionary adaptation. Even in this first sentence, they've assumed that hypergamy is a result of is a psychological tendency. They have not established that. They're just saying it is. Now, is it a psychological tendency, or is this something else? Like, is this societal at the moment? I don't know. Now, everything, of course, in human life is evolutionarily adapted, but is hypergamy aberrant, or is it actually something that is like ingrained in us for some reason? Then I don't know. But like, they've already just say it is there. I don't know if they've established that. Continuing, the evolutionary advantages for mating with males that are in socially advantageous positions are clear. Men in socially advantageous positions are better positioned to produce offspring that will thrive. I mean, is that really the case? I mean, back in the day, look, there was people that were starving and there people were not. Like, you have to try not to starve, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get anywhere by trying to get the other one. Retheus, how you doing? What's going on? I hope you're well. We read this paper on I love you too, Retheus, on basically women using using this website called Seeking.com for trying to find sugar daddies. And what's interesting about these people is that they're trying to justify their dating practices with some science, and it's kind of interesting. So, men in socially advantageous positions are better positioned to produce offspring that will thrive. If the explanation from evolutionary psychology is correct, then females are naturally predisposed to find males of higher social or economic status more attractive. You've been going hard on the stoicism lately. How's it been treating you? Like, are you feeling good? Or are you feeling stoic? Or are you feeling the equanimous or whatever? You're trying to separate what you can control to what you can't control. I mean, if you can do it, more power to you. That's like admirable. Yeah, very hard. I completely agree. Very hard to pull off. Because we all want stuff, and like the idea that we're going to be able to ignore the things that we want because they're out of our control is very difficult. Like, it's a psychologically difficult thing to do, but you need to again be able to refocus sometimes on what you do have and like what is in your control, so that you can get through the hard times when you do not when you can't get what you want, and then hopefully later you can grow to get what you want or get lucky and win the lottery. Yeah, you agree with the logic with your soul? Okay, well, good, more power to you. And like, I really hope it works out for you, because if you're it's better to at least try to be working towards these things than just to, come what may. Because, if you sit still, you're not like, you're not going to get any better. You have to work at stuff. So it's like, you do have to put the time and effort in, and it is a battle. Me? I am still here. Things suck. I'm really okay. I can't complain too much, but it's like, one things I learned, it's the old more money, more problems. I don't have any more money, but every time I do something any different, it's like any time anything's new, it's like you inherit new problems. And it's like, these are problems I didn't have in the past because I wasn't doing the things I'm doing now in the past. And so it's interesting. Everything's like a new set of benefits and like troubles. And it's just like, yeah, I'm very far behind. But, I'm kind of moving forward. Some things are going, yeah, we're all here, like, and we're working. I feel like I'm making some progress. So that's good. I'm kind of getting somewhere. The stoicism does not help me, unfortunately. I wish something did. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. New complexity is right. And things are complex enough. Yeah, so, but we're having a little bit of fun. You know what's good? Having a little bit of fun right now. And I mean, I'm enjoying poking fun at these guys for their kind of their pseudoscience. But like, it's interesting. You can see how hard they're trying to find some sort of external justification for their stance. And it's like, it's gonna be bullshit in the end, because they don't know anything any more than me or you. But like, yeah. Well, that's the goal of Retheus. Yeah, new scenarios and mean more opportunities. And like, that's exactly the point. It's like, you have to be willing to take on risk if you want new opportunities. No risk, no reward, basically. That's how the world is. And so that's the idea. It's like, you have to be working towards stuff and like putting yourself out there in some way in order to get yourself opportunities. Yeah. Oh my God, what? Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm going to read this. You type up your response. What is hypergamy? Social learning theory's view. Social learning theory's explanation for hypergamy assumes that the preference for higher status men is learned rather than inherited. There are several ways of social learning theory can account for hypergamy. Most commonly, accounts of trading up based on social learning theory conclude that women prefer well-to-do men because of sex-based social inequalities. Essentially, women learn to prefer men of higher status because they develop in a society where they experience little opportunity for upwards mobility. Okay, so basically, yeah, you're looking for something better. But like, this is not very special. And so this doesn't really support hypergamy. This just supports people trying to do better for themselves. But yeah, this is a societal problem. And then basically, if this is all that they're saying about hypergamy, that means if we actually made a more equitable society, then it would go away. All right, Rethia says, this guy has zero results when you ask him how he's going to accomplish his goals. He just says, we'll get there next week while the metrics bleed. Oh, God, why? Yeah, these are useless people. They just sit there and they don't do anything. And they're like, oh, yeah, it'll get figured out. And it falls on everyone else's shoulders. That's, yeah. He thinks work is a social-based thing and irritates high-level people by trying to network without a reason. Yeah, and just distracting them. Yeah, see, this is like these people who don't understand what work actually is. You see this in rich people. Sometimes you see them, they say they're working all day, and like, what are they doing? Well, they're like talking to their friends and discussing stuff. It's like, yeah, you are kind of networking, but that's not really hard work. Like, hard work actually, you have to get down to the nitty gritty. You have to do some math, something that's like hard for you, and then you can pull some ideas together. Like, you have to read stuff, you have to like write stuff, you have to like put the hard time and effort in. It's not just sitting around watching TV and like bullshitting with your friends and coming up with new ideas. That can be part of it, but it's just like, nah. He's also a liar. One time he called an impromptu meeting with my team, then lied about being texted by our CEO. So, yeah, see, this is it. Like, it is fake it till you make it kind of guy. And now he's just annoying everybody. That's, yeah, I'm sorry you have to work with someone like that, because it's just wasting your time and your effort and your, like, patience. But this is, now that I'm not, I work for a nonprofit, but I'm on the business side, and the amount of incompetence in business, and not even at my location, in really big businesses that we do business with, the amount of incompetence is insane. And people say business is efficient. No, it is not. It is horribly inefficient, but like, this is just how things are at the moment. I don't know if there's a better way, but oh my God, like, you've got, like, there's these idiots like this. Oh, okay, so you're using him as a foil. That's not a bad idea. It's like, well, don't be like that guy, because that's someone who does not actually understand people. Like, you have to understand people if you want to like deal with people in the right way. This guy thinks, in some sense, he's trying to use the social situation for his benefit. That's not actually how work gets done. If I recall, you're in a you do training in a call center or in something like that. And so you're definitely dealing with a lot of people. It's like, yeah, but just, you have to be able to understand why people do this stuff if you're going to be like doing work. What do they want? Why would they want to talk to you if you are not providing them with anything that is going to accomplish the business goals? Just talking to them is useless. Okay. So we've been discussing the women's perspective from in the article and stuff. Let's see what the desired man's perspective is. Yeah, you do dev for corporations, learning and dev. Yeah, see, like, you have to understand what people are up to at that point, and what is the hard product that you're delivering them. You're delivering them people that like can, focus on the job at hand. And this one dude is like completely not understanding like dealing with you and what you're up to. This is a problem. That's actually a good point. If you are dealing with people, you have to understand what they're doing. Like, you have to understand them before you can like go in with like what you want to say. You have to understand like what the other people are up to. Otherwise, it's not gonna matter what you say, because it's not gonna matter the person, because you're not gonna be talking to what they want to hear. So there was a nice quote. You have to understand before being understood. So you have to understand the other person before they can you will be understood by them. So that's like part of the issue here. And if you don't seek to understand first, you are not going to be understood. So, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, this is a once in 5 years weirdo liar in your experience. Okay, well, it's good that like you don't have to deal with that very much, which is why you brought it up. Yeah, but it is so weird when you deal with these people and you wonder how they get into these jobs. Did they like did they like sleep with the boss? Do they have a friend? It's like, how did they get to where they are? Are they like some rich person's kid? Like, you don't know. Very strange. Like, I don't generally have problems like that at work. Oh, I do work with like some real morons every so often. Like their brother is someone in my organization, and they got their like kid cousin a job, and they're like an idiot. That happens, but they're not in like any position of power at that point. They're just like around and like helping out something, and like they're not So like we have stuff like that, but we don't have the people in power are not stupid at my place. Like the people, but like, that's not even true. We do have some bad managers, but they're not, generally they're not idiots at least. Or if they are, they get pushed to the side reasonably quickly. It takes a while. There's a lot of bureaucracy where I'm at. So firing people does take a while. But yeah. Alright, I want to read this little paragraph. The desired man's perspective. The desired man who forms a relationship with a hypergamic female is doing so because he is attracted to that female. The desired man acts upon his preferences when it comes to women just as the hypergamic female acts upon her preferences when it comes to men. It just so happens that men generally highly value physical attractiveness, while women generally highly value economic and social status, as well as physical attractiveness. While outsiders may view a man that decides to form a relationship with a hypergamic female as being taken advantage of, that assumption is misguided. The desired man is in a position to select a mate that satisfies his preferences because he possesses desirable traits. You guys have way more hard checkpoints and resumes. No, we have way more bureaucracy at my place, and there's no movement in my place. So anytime someone's been there, they've been there for years, and that basically means they play the game well enough, which means they're not a moron. It's just that my place is so slow moving that like if you're an idiot, like eventually you get pushed out, and only the people who get like who can last in a grind up, being grinded up in the organization are not idiots. But like I've been at my place for 6-7 years now, and I'm starting to make friends with like people like outside my little area. But you can see like these are good people, but like they're like, I keep my head down and I don't talk to anyone I don't need to talk to. But like, yeah. Not for work. Not in my. Oh, I'm not in academia. First of all, I'm in a large nonprofit, at the moment. But like, yeah, there is something to be said for people who, yeah, most of the people who I work with have some sort of degrees. That's true. Yeah. I mean, some of them don't, but the ones who don't are usually pretty solid people, like regardless of like their education, whatever. But like I said, to last in my place, you have to be able to deal with bureaucracy a lot, and it's interesting. Yeah, no. Don't worry about that. I actually don't talk about what I do outside of stream very much, so I know people don't know, which is fine. I'm not technically allowed to talk about where I work either. Like they say, no social media posts, against the rules. So, but yeah. So this is I like this little thing. I don't know if people heard that, but basically what they're doing is this last sentence is the whole claim here. The desired man is in a position to select a mate that satisfies his preferences because he possesses desirable traits. See, they're hedging. They're saying your money is what makes you good, basically. Yeah, same with the bureaucracy. Yeah, well, bureaucracy is in academia it's massive. It's a lot of places. And so, I mean, easy to technically, my institution does have like a research wing, so it's not like we don't put out research and stuff. So it is kind of academic, but it's not a university. I like this also. They're saying that the man is being taken advantage of. Yeah, like, the man that decides to form a relationship with a hypergamic female is being taken advantage of. It's like, don't worry. Like, just because you're rich and wealthy, you're not being taken advantage of. Well, yes, it's stupid, but they're saying, look, well, the funny part is they're trying to make it sound as natural and like scientific as they can here, because this is their business. But like, yeah, like this is their business. They're trying to make it sound like it's money and prestige. I'm just saying, look, call it what it is. I think this is just escort service, like a different kind of escort service. And I got no problem with escorts, but it's just like they're trying to make it sound like it's more than that. It's like, nah, well, we've been doing this for a long time. Things may change in the future, but like the idea that like we're calling this dating as if like it's and this is the natural way people date. It's like, well, maybe some people do, but there's no reason why this is going to be the end all be all, or this is how things should be. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's what their argument is that it is so primitive as to be like inherent in our like society or like our being of what it is to be human. And there's no way you can prove that. They just have like some, vague hand waving at it, which is fine. I mean, like I said, I don't actually have like if you're trying to, the article of course was coming down hard on the feminist line saying, look, you're basically playing into the old conservative mentality, which is probably not what you want to be doing if you're trying to be, modern human. But again, like having morals is good when you can eat. If you can't afford to eat, then you have to do what you can to put food on the table. But like then again, you shouldn't buy into the bullshit either. You should be at least a smart person that like is doing what they need to do, but at least know what you're up to. Like, don't be thinking like, oh, we're gonna assume this is the way the world is. It doesn't have to be. So, and at least that would make a hypergaming the action of marrying a person of a superior class or caste. I mean, this is how bad it is. We're going back to like caste systems here. It's not really this is not clever. This is just playing to the old status quo, saying this is how it is, and yeah, that's basically it. Let's see, is there anything else fun on this site? Actually, I'm sure there is plenty of fun stuff. Seeking blog. Let's see what their blog posts are like, if it's even here. Okay, so we've got a blog post November 9th, talking about ID verification, which is good for a dating site, or what do I think of Malthusianism? Oh god, I'm blanking. This is what happens when I've been doing things for like 2 hours. But I know what it is, but I can't think right now. Let's go find out what Malthusianism. Malthusianism definition. Let's get the definition real fast. Of or relating to Malthus, the population tends to increase at a faster rate than its means of subsistence, and that unless it is checked by moral restraint or disaster such as disease, famine, or war, widespread poverty and degradation will inevitably result. Okay, that's what it was. It's the population rates is going to always be like, multiply, it's just going to keep doubling basically if everyone has more and more kids. And so it's a population rate theory that we're basically heading towards disaster. Basically, you can look at population rates, and population rates are dropping off around the world, especially like I think South Korea has a very, very low population birth rate. So it looks like it's more complicated than just we do breed really fast. We have lots of kids, and there's a lot of us, and we keep making more of us, and basically we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with all the people. But it looks like there are more and more things keeping us from like the that will keep the birth rate down than just what like Malthus imagined. Because if you look at Japan, if you look at South Korea, they have low birth rates, and you can ask, why do they have low birth rates? I don't know, but I don't think it's like anything obvious to do with the Japanese or South Korean. Like, there's not like they have any disease out there. It's not that the the fact that we're going for a fall, I think, is like everyone knows that like nowadays the Earth is, it was like 75 degrees yesterday or 2 days ago, like here in New York. It's like, I don't think that's the argument. The question is, what is actually going on with like that, like, is it the population rates? People are weird. We are going to find new ways to control ourselves and all that stuff. So yeah, let's see. The power of population is so superior to the power of the earth to produce subsistence for man that premature death must in some shape or other visit the human race. Yeah, but that's fair, but it's, what exactly does it mean by like population control? Because we have really interesting ways of like controlling populations. Of course, like the Chinese used to have like the one child policy, which was a government mandated one. They took that away. I don't know exactly all the things that went into them doing it and taking it away. Was it successful? Was it what wasn't successful? But like I said, there's other countries around the world where the population rate is going down. The birth rate's really going down. So it seems to me that yes, we've got too many people to deal with, but at the moment we've got too many people to deal with because our distribution of like resources is very bad, and moreover the way we control our population is actually not understood, because I'm sure the Japanese and the South Koreans would like to have a higher birth rate and they're not getting one right now, but like we have to figure out why that is. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like Malthus was at least in part right. It doesn't look like he had a good enough. Of course, he didn't have a full view of us as people. Oh, so you want to know what's really funny? Looking at this blog, which is, maybe this is rehashed content, I don't know, but like how to prevent fraud, get verified, first date safety preparation, date ideas. Like, this may actually be a nice blog to look at. Dating someone like you, 15 pros and cons. Upgrade your dating life, 3 ways to start dating up. Let's see. I wonder when they started putting this out. Yeah, so we've got dating safety and dating tools. This may be actually a very good website for safety dating tips. Dating abroad. Yeah, so how to stay safe. This is really funny, actually. Like, I remember years ago that I used to listen to some tech blogs, and they were talking about online safety, and someone had put out an online safety post that was like very comprehensive about how to keep yourself safe online if you're doing any sort of online work and there's a chance people might come after you, and it was put out by a cam model. So this lady on like a cam site had put together all the like stuff, the resources, and these were like really nerdy tech guys, and they were like, this is by far the best written, most comprehensive like information to tech. And they said, we've never linked to any sort of website site like this before, and we probably never will again, but like this is one of those things where, yeah, this is like the not the Wild West. These are the people who have the experience in the Wild West of the internet, and they know the best tech practices. And so like this is an interesting blog in some sense for like, because these are clearly, you're dealing with people with money and power that could get you in a lot of trouble if you are, off in some weird place with them. Yeah. Seeking's role to fight human trafficking. I don't remember what it was, Valpo. If it was Violet Blue, maybe it was. But like, this is at least 5 years ago that I'm thinking of at this point. See, Seeking's role to fight human trafficking and online dating. That's interesting. So they've probably, I wonder, like, they're a tech company. Maybe they know how to avoid, like, maybe they're looking at what rich people are doing with like money and women, when what the scummy rich guys are doing with them. 5 things successful daters do. Verify your identity. Online dating. Red flags. Don't see, this might be very helpful for anyone. Red flags. What dating? Yeah, and see. Here's how to score a date with your ideal partner. Well, good for these people for putting out like what's probably, I hope it's halfway decent content. Like I don't know if any of this is good, but like yeah. Yeah, anti-sex trafficking. Okay, so they just got some links here. There's nothing here. That's too bad. But yeah. If you are believe that you're the victim of sex or human trafficking, or may have information about potential trafficking situation, contact that, or just call 911. Anti-trafficking laws, blah blah blah. They say they do best practices. That's fine, but this is nothing. Yeah, this is just links and stuff. Okay, minimal. Okay, I don't know if I have anything more to say about this. It's just kind of fascinating to see what stock photo they used here. Date the elite. Okay, so you can share private photos, favorite other members, background verification, video messages, 130 countries, real-time messaging. Yeah, I mean, this just seems like OnlyFans with a few extra features. Fine by me. Okie doke. Alright, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock here. Anyone have any other questions, comments, concerns? But yeah. Yeah, so in the end, I basically agree with the author here. You're buying into a lot of the bullshit if you are like, you think this is a good thing to make yourself some money. If that's all you think of it as, you just are buying into the bullshit. But if you are not buying into the bullshit and you're doing it because you like it, or because you know, you have to, or it's very useful for you, like, that's fine. But you don't have to buy into it being a good thing. As long as you go into it understanding that you're buying into like a bullshit philosophy, which is, like I said, there are worse things in the world to do. Just, you should know it. Narrative shared on. Okay, so Incel's wiki, hypergamy is like, so this is interesting. The Incel wiki, incel.wiki. I've never, oh my god. Wow. Like, this has just gotta be. Yeah, so I guess the argument here is that that back in 1955 you couldn't really find any, like, you couldn't, you know, have a very wide search for people, so everyone interesting and good looking would just match up with the people in their area, and the boring and ugly people would match up, and everyone would be happy, which of course no one was actually happy back in the day, but like, you don't know that now because people don't have memories. But now everyone wants to get the interesting and good looking people, and that's it, because that's how it goes. I mean, this is sort of just like hilariously bad graph. Roasty hierarchy of needs. Wow. All right. And this is why I do not deal with this bullshit. Oh, and they link TLC, no scrubs. That's amazing. Good for TLC getting a link. Wow. Okay, this is nuts, but alright. In the manosphere? Yikes. And you know, this is why I don't deal with this stuff on the internet too much. I'm like, the Seeking.com is sort of fascinating in like they're trying to professionalize and like make and legitimize their stuff. The incel stuff is, yeah. I don't know. What do you say to that? It's less professional in some sense. Infernal. Oh, it's too bad. We read this interesting article about basically there's a website called Seeking.com, which we were just looking at. I hope you're well. And anyway, hi. Let's give Anne a shout out. Let's see if it works this time. Things are breaking on me. Hey, there we go. You see oh, I forgot to fix the text on the shout out. I'm sorry. Everyone should go click on Infernal though. It's right in the chat, not on the video. And you have a cold, so you've been watching in mucus. But yeah, I'm sorry. There's a site basically called Seeking.com, which is for, you know, pretty women to go get high status rich guys. And so, you know, they're trying real hard to justify this practice and make it sound like it's everything's cool, even though the article here comes down kind of hard to them for being anti-feminist. You're too old to be a sugar baby? Well, and I believe in you. You could do it if you really wanted to. But yeah. So it's like, I just see this as basically no different from an escort service with just a few extra steps. And so all of the dressing up here is a little bullshit, but yeah. I just find it interesting. And I think the author here made a good point that basically, what are they saying right here at the end? They're not doing anything to challenge the gendered inequality. This is just buying into the old school conservative bullshit. And they said that basically, yeah, just the old sort of view of the world that this is how things are. And that's crap. So, but like, it's sort of, the website itself is kind of fascinating. But yeah, so. But yeah, I don't know if I have anything new to say. If you have any questions or whatever, let me know. But like, this is like a nice article from a philosopher about this. But yeah, like I said, I don't think they made the case that it's really any different than like any sort of old school escort services or transactional stuff. This is just making it look pretty. So, yeah, sorry you got a cold though. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, the people were talking about it. Yeah, I think the younger generation is I said this earlier too. I think the younger generation is much more okay with alternative relationships, but then again, I think the younger generation is in a tough spot. Like, it's hard to make money, it's hard to do a lot of things nowadays, and so they have to look for new things. And it says that kind of female empowerment sometimes is a disguise for taking advantage of people, but what can you say when both parties are fully knowledgeable and informed about what they are doing, and they're doing it willingly? Well, yeah, I completely agree. It's like, this is not, and that's almost exactly what the author says. It's saying it's really not much of an empowerment, but like, people do, if you go into it knowing it, that's fine. But I was saying, you don't swallow the bullshit. Damn, you would have liked to be here for that. I was reading some boring stuff. Yeah, you would have liked this one. And this is what's it called? This is just a blog post. So like, this is short and sweet, and like there it is if you want to go look at it. So it was fun. But yeah, it's nothing too crazy. Filipa Melo Lopez at University in Edinburgh.